turning little like orbs of joy into a sad. Our next reader tonight is Lisa Olstein. She is the author of 3 poetry collections, most recently Little Stranger, which came out from Copper Canyon Press in 2013. A new book, Late Empire, is forthcoming next year. A winner of the Essay Press Prize, her chapbook, The Resemblance of the Enzymes of Grasses to Those of Whales is a Family Resemblance, was released this fall. I got through that title, but I couldn't say Essay Press Prize. She is a member of the poetry faculty at the University of Texas at Austin.
Hi. Sorry about the sitting. It's a pleasure to be here as ever at Malvern, and thank you for organizing this. We're really excited to celebrate your new book with you. So poetry gives us poetry, which is all it needs to do, but it also gives us people, which is another saving grace. So thanks for being people here in poetry together. This is actually not going to be poetry, and I don't have any party favors. I'm sorry. This is just going to be a little excerpt from what I'm hoping will be a book-length lyric essay that is looking at or exploring the intersection of pain, perception, and language. And this, as we all know, has been a really, really dismal week, and I really haven't wanted to do anything, and also didn't really want to pick out poems of mine to read to you all, and thought about picking out poems of other people to read to you all, and then thought that that can become a dick move sometimes. And I don't want to do that. Not all of them. So anyway, but I felt really good about reading stuff of thinking through and obsessing over the utterances of Joan of Arc. So this essay that I'm working on indulges in a number of different kind of obsessive interests, and she, and in particular, the words attributed to her are one of them. So that's what I'm going to read from tonight. Why Joan? The patient come defendant endlessly examined, poked at and prodded, revered and reviled, the center around which the whole unwelcome circus spins. The subject forced to speak in and of the untranslatable condition of herself. I don't care about the church or Joan's relationship to God or to the 100 Years' War. I care about what she says. Why Joan? Because forced to express the private inexpressible publicly, she often refused. Because she uttered the unutterable while somehow staying true to it. That is to say, because of her relationship to language. Because she heard voices and saw light. Because bodily she did not behave. Because by insisting on what her body felt or needed, she defended it from certain kinds of attack while opening it to others. Because recently I've been encountering mention of her in intriguing ways. In an essay by Anne Carson on translation, largely the impossibility at its heart, pointing to Joan's refusal to translate her experience into acceptable terms. In an essay by Elizabeth Willis on the potential of language to express and resist aspects of oppression and domination, pointing to Joan as an example of both. In a profile of UN Ambassador Samantha Power, which early on describes her in reference to Joan, for her conviction that America has a responsibility to halt or prevent the suffering of civilians abroad, she had been caricatured as the Ivy League Joan of Arc. Because of the very providence or accident by which I was falling in the way of these occasions and the way they were speaking to me, always of language, because what do we ask of language? How do we sort through what we will and will not say, what we can, what we can't? As usual, Carson offers the most lucid distillation. She was captured in battle on May 23, 1430. Her trial lasted from January to May of 1431, and entailed a magistrate's inquest, 6 public interrogations, 9 private interrogations, an abjuration, a relapse trial, and condemnation. Her death by fire took place on May 30, 1431. Thousands of words went back and forth between Joan and her judges during the months of her inquisition. Many of them are available to us in some form. The copiousness of the trial records was anomalous by design. Joan was an international celebrity at the time. The trial was political, ecclesiastical, social, historical, an actual battle in a real war. So the bishop charged with its execution and inevitably with Joan's, asserting one kind of faith and language, made sure it was meticulously documented and that this documentation was assiduously copied, making it the most detailed and widely available trial record of the Middle Ages. Among the fruits of these labors was the speed at which news of Joan's fate spread around the world. These labors also made it possible, 25 years after her death by fire, for a subsequent bishop to symbolically burn a copy of the original trial record on the occasion of its nullification. They also gave us Joan. In the interrogations, historian Daniel Hobbins notes of the Latin text, itself a translation of the French minutes recorded at the close of each day, the verb tenses shift frequently from past to present. I don't know what you wish to ask me. Perhaps you might ask me things I can't tell you, are the first words we hear her say. A certain late woman, Joan, this woman utterly disregarding, this woman at the time, this woman so denounced, surrender the woman, this woman to us, this woman we ordered, this woman's words, the woman commonly called Joan the maid, this woman was taken, this woman is hardly, the said maid, this woman is, this woman to be handed over, bring the woman to this city, the said Joan, this Joan. Always a pack of them, the assembled masters for each hearing were carefully listed by name and station. The first public session consisted of 42 men, including abbots, priors, doctors of theology, doctors of canon law, doctors of civil law, bachelors of theology, licentiates of canon law, licentiates of civil law. 13 of them were named Jean. The second public session, 48, including abbots, priors, doctors of theology, doctors of canon law, doctors of canon and civil law, bachelors of theology, a brother, a doctor of medicine, and 2 canons of Rouen Cathedral, 16 Jean. Third session, 61, 15, etc. Asked her birthplace, asked the names, asked where, asked who, asked what, asked how, asked by, asked next, asked whether, asked how, asked what, asked whether, asked what kind, asked whether, and so on. The sea of documents that comprise the record teem with damning accusations. A partial accounting includes abandoned women's clothing, allowed herself to be adored, apostate, blasphemy, casting of spells, conjurer of evil spirits, contagion, corrupt member, credulous, cruel murders, cruelly thirsting, curses, dared to perform, to speak, and to publicize many things contrary, devilish malice, disregarding the honor due the female sex, disturber of the peace, divination, doubting, dressed and armed herself like a man, entangled in and practicing the magic arts, errors, evil speaking, evil thinking, false and deceitful, false heart, false prophetess, falsely imagined revelations, forgetting all feminine decency, hard-hearted, heresy, idolatry, incantations, inciting wars, incorrigible, invocation of demons, like a dog returning to its vomit, limb of Satan, maleficent, misdeeds against our faith, misled, moved by stubborn rashness, obstinate, offenses against the faith, other offenses, perjury of God's holy name, pernicious temptress, presumption, rashly boasts, relapsed heretic, scandalous, schismatic, scornful, seditious, seduced and abused simple people, seduction of princes, nobles, clergy, and common people, seductress of princes and peoples, shocking and vile monstrosity, sorcery, spreading false dogmas, straying, superstition, traffic with demons, throwing off the bridle of modesty, transgressor, treason, unworthy of grace, usurping divine honor, various errors and wicked crimes. Most offensive to them, even more than her audacity to claim voices sent from God, was her insistence on wearing men's clothes. Here are just 2 examples plucked from a flood of them. But she absolutely refused and, as stated, steadfastly refuses to carry out other tasks proper to her sex, in all things behaving more like a man than a woman. With regard to this article, Joan says that she was in fact advised to wear women's clothes at Arras and in the castle of Beaurevoir. She refused then and still does. As for the other womanly tasks, she says there are enough other women to do them. You said that at God's command and at his good pleasure you wore and still continually wear men's garb. And since God commanded, you took a short tunic, a doublet, and hose with many points. You wear your hair short, cut round above your ears, leaving nothing to indicate the female sex except what nature gave you, and you often receive the Eucharist in this clothing. Although you have been advised many times to abandon it, you utterly refuse to do so. More fascinating to us is her voice, what she will and especially what she won't say. I took an oath for you yesterday. That should be quite enough for you. You overburden me. You may well ask me some things that I will answer truthfully and others that I will not. Go to the next question. Spare me. Go on to the next question. I will not tell you this. You can leave the matter. I've sworn twice, that's plenty. Continue to the next question. I won't answer that. What would you say if the voice has forbidden me? Believe me, it wasn't men who forbade me. I'm not telling you all I know. I request a delay. Do I have to tell you? You won't learn that yet. I don't know what else to tell you. I have nothing else to tell you. You will get nothing more out of me on this. You will get nothing more for now than what I've already answered. You will not learn them from me this year. Do you think you can catch me like this and draw me into your power? And if I tell you anything, later I will say that you forced it out of me. I have always told you that you will not drag that out of me. Go ask him, meaning God. And her voices, she hears it many more times than she says. She answered that she was sleeping and the voice woke her. She said it woke her without touching her. The voice told her to answer boldly. She never knew it to contradict itself. She said the light comes in the name of the voice. She recognizes them by their voices. She thinks she was around 13 when the voice first came to her. She said there was much light all around and this seemed fitting. She understood them perfectly. In the end, we all know what happens. Joan, dearest friend, now it is time at the end of your trial to think carefully about what has been said. Just prior to being condemned to death, Joan abjures and recants, agreeing to wear women's clothing and disavowing the voices. Reprieved, or rather forgiven, instead of death she is given life, a salutary penance of perpetual imprisonment with the bread of sorrow and the water of affliction, that you may weep there for your faults. This on a Thursday. By Friday or Saturday, she is back to wearing men's clothes. By Monday, she's insisting again that the voices are real. Tuesday, the council meets, 39, including 3 abbots, 9 doctors of theology, 2 doctors of canon law, 2 archdeacons, 5 bachelors in theology, 7 canons of various affiliations, a brother, a canon of Rouen, and 1 more, 10 Jean. On Wednesday, she is condemned for heretical relapse in an expedited trial consisting of a public recitation of sins and burned before a crowd in the market square. Moreover, we ourselves and certain learned and expert doctors and masters who were concerned for the salvation of your soul have often warned you on your behalf duly and sufficiently to correct and amend yourself in these matters and to submit to the guidance, judgment, and correction of Holy Mother Church. Yet you would not do so, nor did you concern yourself with it, but in your hard-heartedness and stubbornness you positively denied the accusations and repeatedly refused to submit. Asked when she last heard the voice come to her, she answered, I heard it yesterday and today. She heard a voice on her right. She often heard the voice. She seldom hears it without the light. The light comes from the same side, around noon in summer, in a wood, she would. In that place, there is a great light. The light was at her side. She knew it was the voice. She understood the voice well. The voice told her to come. The voice told her that she must. The voice told her that she, Joan, must. It was just as the voice had told her. She was about to mount her horse when she answered.